Mobile Tech RX, the app that helps you make more money.
Don't forget to grab your Magnatech mat, available at most PDR tool distributors.
Okay.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of PDR Tool Time. This is episode 256. I'm your host, Vince D'Alessandro, along with Daniel Graham, John Renstrom, and Hudson Tansey. We're all here to make your lives better. And how are we going to make your lives better? By showing you a ton of different tools for our industry, which we love, which is the PDR, paintless dent removal tool industry. We have a wonderful show for you today. We're going to talk about tools, and we're going to talk about past MTEs, seeing that this is like the week where we would be going to MTE, right?
Yeah.
The ghost of MTE past.
Yes. So we'll have a few technicians on along the way here, and in between that, we're going to talk about tools that we've gotten in the last week or two. Some are prototypes, some are hitting the market soon, and some are already on the market, seeing that MTE is a bust in person this year. They will be having a virtual one on Friday.
Ooh, but we like bus.
We busts.
Oh, totally wrong. Totally wrong. It's early in the morning.
That's your other podcast, John.
Yeah.
If anyone doesn't notice, so we've got some, anyone that's watching, we've got a little more ambiance here, a little more lighting than we usually do. We've all had a quite...
Are you talking about we as in you?
I've got a little
You're in your cave, Daniel, sucking down pain meds because you threw your back out. So he's not going to be the happiest people today, everyone. But,
Yes, I'm miserable right now.
yes, we can hear it. But we're recording a couple days later because we've had quite the week, especially Vince. So yeah, but we are really excited to be here recording and hopefully sharing some good stories about MTE.
Yes. Well, how should
what tools do we want to start off with?
Excuse me.
I think Hudson has some blue long thingies that resemble different things that
Yes, they're
are
tampons
for the PDR industry. You want to show those?
Yeah. So if anyone was on the PDR Tool Time page, group, whatever, I shared them. So I've got these KOs by Abracadabra. Stanislav, who with Cars Formers was pimping them out. So to give you, and this is going to get loud here. So you're going to see...
Can you make more noise?
Yeah, I'm going to try to make more noise. Okay. So we have our typical dent dolly, right? That Dentcraft sells.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're going to take like pretty much same concept, but smaller. Okay.
More pinpoint where that's spread out.
Yeah. So like say here's a regular pencil and here's the...
Yeah, they're pretty long.
Very long. I like them a lot. So this is going to basically be like a dent dolly, like up on a roof. If you have a roof edge and you want to put this right there, pop, pop. Now, here's what I'm going to say is using your regular like Craftsman hammer doesn't do it for this. I use my Snap-on
Dead blow.
16 ounce, 1 pound. And that's the bad boy. That's
works.
what you barely have to swing this hammer and it does
Daniel, do you have these two as well?
Yeah, I do. The first thing you'll notice when you get them is how light they are, and the plastic is a different material. And he talks about it in his videos. They use it in auto racing. I don't know where they use it in auto racing, but it's supposedly super strong and lightweight.
It's very light. I was actually really surprised.
They do look heavy, but
they're not. When you get them, you're like, this doesn't seem right, and it was quite interesting how strong they are for how light they are.
You are saying probably because of that, you need to use a heavier hammer on it. Correct? It's not
probably
doing the job.
So here are the 4 different tips. Okay, so guys, what you're seeing here, if you're listening. You've got a tip that looks like a giant knockdown. You've got one that looks like about a 1-inch wide dent dolly. You've got one that looks like a chisel tip right there. And then you have this guy, which is the guy I did a post about. What you're going to see is I'm going to turn it right there. So the way they have it designed is so that it can fit between a bumper and an edge. So you don't have to take the bumper off to do dolly work.
Yeah.
And that's now, I will say this in full candid honesty, what you're going to see is I'm going to turn that. And when you look, you'll see right here, see that little step?
Mm-hmm.
I hit it so hard to where it shaved off a quick section of this.
Oh,
because
okay.
it was so thin. But the thing is, it's still completely useful. Who the heck? And so you'll see right there, you'll see how sharp it is on this side.
Right.
Okay, that's how sharp it comes. And then after I hit it a little bit too hard, that's how it got to.
Okay.
But
let me interject a little bit about the use of your choice of hammers and why the heavier hammer is a little bit more necessary for the task that you're doing. In order to drive that line, it takes a lot more pressure. So when you use a lightweight hammer, you have to swing hard. The problem with the swinging hard on the small surface of that wedge is you're likely to hit off center. And once you hit off center, you will foobar stuff in a heck of a hurry. Use a lighter weight hammer, use a little bit easier swing, let that dead blow hammer do the work, and drive those little wedges up and bring that low up from that outside.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Now
Hey,
I will. Yeah.
Can you
Sorry.
do us a favor and like pull your blind a little bit? Thank you, sir.
Oh, there we go. Now here I will say this: since I have the B&D edge pliers and fender pliers, I don't see myself using this.
Right.
Okay. But what I would say is, I don't know if y'all know, on a regular dent dolly, they come in 3 different little
Radiuses.
thank you. That's what I was saying. Radiuses. So I'm holding up a Dentcraft dolly here, and you're going to see how's a small radius. And I've even marked the center of it so I know where to hit whenever I did dolly work back in the day. I kind of wish this dolly had just the small one that comes with the KO, that had just the smallest amount of radius, not a lot, just a little bit, so I can really be more pinpoint.
You know what you could do for that, right?
I can take it to the. Oh, come on, Vince.
There it is.
I didn't even hear it. So
Bench grinder.
I talked to Stanislav, and I'm like, hey, y'all need to sell these individually because they're a little bit pricey. And the reason why they're pricey is because of the material that they're made out of, and because of COVID. They said like what it costs to ship these over across to the United States. Like if they were to ship just these by themselves, is like $70 shipping through DHL. So it's because of COVID, everything's crazy. So I was like, man. So hopefully when COVID gets over, maybe they can figure out some logistics to where they can sell maybe individuals. These two, I think, are a must for every tech that's doing.
I'd have to agree. Yeah.
I would put seal of approval. Like these two are an absolute, especially if you don't want to take bumpers apart just to get some edges done. These two, it's going to take me a while before I can think of a good application for this that would be better than my edge pliers.
Now, with all of those, there are other companies that sell something similar to that. I know Ultra has one. They don't advertise it, but they have something very similar to that that's out on the market. Ansem, we're working on something. You have Dentcraft ones. So there are different options that are already out on the market. You have the Dentcraft dollies. I like those. What I was wondering, and Daniel and Hudson, you might be able to tell, are they machined or are they molded? Because it looks like it's machined to me.
Yeah. So if you look right there, you see that? Like that's not something that's in a mold.
Right.
It looks like it's almost spun. You can see these machine marks on the head.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but it would have to. Yeah, I think it is machined.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. Because I mean, if it's this hard of a plastic, I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to ask them. We need to have Stanislav on. Quite honestly, I mean, I don't know why we haven't had him on yet. I know his English isn't the best, but he does have good enough English where we can understand him.
Who's the seller on that?
Abracadabra.
All right, let me see if I can find a link for.
They're sold. These are only sold at Kiko in the States right now.
All right.
So if you're in the States and you want these, and man, guys, I'm sorry, I just keep forgetting now that we're doing video that there's people that only listen to this, and I'm like, oh, you just need to keep these two, and I put it up to the screen, but the people listening are like, well, what two? What two?
Yeah.
The two I would say is the one that fits under the bumper and the one that's like a little 1-inch dent dolly are the two that I think are a must.
And it's like an 85% angle on it.
Yeah, and the two that I haven't used yet because I just haven't found an application is the chisel tip and the one that looks like a massive knockdown
butt plug.
Is that? I don't know what a butt plug looks like. Is this like the one you have?
No,
at home, Vince. Is that why you know what it looks like? Isn't yours black
a little
though?
bit wider. He's like,
oh, yours is wider. That's true.
Yes.
Wrong.
Clean, guys.
Y'all are just wrong. Y'all need to just go find you some Jesus for a little bit.
So
this is
there
a
it is.
Sunday,
That's
man.
the end is flat on that. On the one that looks like a knockdown. Anyways, so yeah, it looks like it's turned in something there, Vince. I think you're right.
Yeah, that's the only thing, because I was watching the videos that Stanislav had put out. I'm like, man, those look like they were turned rather than, because there's obviously an expense in turning anything, whether it's plastic or steel or aluminum. A CNC is going to cost more than an injection mold.
But you know what I'd want is if that thing was threaded on the very end of it, I can put an extension and use it in a motorcycle tank. I have done that.
Really?
Yep.
That's and probably part of the reason for that machining is the type of plastic it is and how strong it is. You're not really going to get an accurate mold out of it. In order to get that kind of a tip. I'm not finding that on Kiko's website at this time.
It is on there. I have found it. I've seen them on Kiko.
Yeah, that's what Stanislav said. So,
but I think there's another gentleman that just came on the show that might have those as well, that might be able to speak and attest to them. If you unmute him, he might. I don't know.
Yeah, he can unmute himself.
He can unmute himself.
Don't. Yeah, once Daniel hits it, we're all.
I was
muted.
sipping coffee. I didn't want you guys to hear this.
That's some ASMR right there.
Welcome to the show, Myke Toledo.
Good
What
morning.
is crack-a-lacking?
Just enjoying
What the hell you guys doing up so early,
Oh,
man?
look, Mike, we match.
Oh, look, the two Twinkies from California.
Oh, now that we're Texas and got a beard and a cowboy hat, now we're no more affiliated with Cali anymore. Okay. All right.
See how
I will.
Well, you know, this liberal is pretty hardcore, dude. You know that?
Remember, to make himself Texan, he had to run the mustache all the way down into the beard.
Hey, Mike, do you have these KOs?
I don't, but I have something similar that
Ultra has,
but not that one. How do you like them?
Well, I mean, these two I haven't used yet, but these two I have, and
that's money. Except
this one's money.
Cleared it off already.
Yeah. All right. So I found the link to those. We'll put those in the show notes for y'all so you can check those out on Kiko's website because they're not easy to find.
Absolutely.
So while we have Mike on, let's touch in with Mike and see, because one of the things that we were talking about, like I mentioned earlier, was that MTE of pasts and stories that come along with MTE, and I think Mike and I have been going to MTE since I want to say 2006 together. Okay.
Yeah.
So
holy crap!
A long time.
When was the first one?
Maybe
2000 or 2001, something like that.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So maybe it was before 2006. I don't know.
Well, last year was 20th anniversary, right? So,
was it?
Yeah. So it makes it 20 years. Yeah. 2000.
All right.
Oh, wow. Myke Toledo with the genius stuff there.
Oh, thanks for the math work, Mike. Appreciate that. And look at that.
Sunday.
He hasn't even finished his first cup of coffee. He's already whipping out math problems. So
I might look dumber than I look, but I'm not.
So, you know what? This podcast was born of MTE. We've carried it on throughout the years, over 4 years now. Mike, one of our original founding members and hosts of this show. What's some memories that you got? I know you got a ton of them, but what brings you back to MTE?
Which one of your favorites?
Yeah.
I think one of our favorites was probably about 4 or 5 years ago when we actually enjoyed Florida a little bit, and we went and now we haven't. Were you talking off camera? I guess it's on camera, right? But I'd say one of the best ones was when we all took a boat ride out there.
When we went on the what are those called, airboats? Or
it was just like we were doing one place to another. We were just like bar hopping. Like you introduced it to the Bahama Breeze, I think.
The painkiller.
The painkiller. I mean, and it's been a tradition. If you go to the MTE and you haven't gone to Bahama Breeze and had a painkiller, then you haven't experienced MTE, dude. So,
that's right.
You know,
we made it a thing.
And the best thing is to go with Daniel because he's so excited. He just buys them for everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The thing is, Bahama Breeze doesn't have the best food, but they have the killer.
I think so.
And their coconut shrimp's
really
good.
good food.
I mean, they got some decent coconut shrimp.
Yeah, I think that's one of the.
What are you talking about? Their jerk chicken is off the hook.
Yeah,
I've had great fish there.
It is good. It is good.
Some of their fish dishes have been fantastic.
But now I'm going to bring up. What's up, Steven? There's a Steven, Mr. Hamby.
Steven's hanging around. He's got another MTE story, but we've got him on mute until
tap your photo, Steven, and unmute yourself.
But I would say probably one of the best ones. It was probably with me and Vince that we were in Clearwater, Florida, and I had this big video camera. Like I didn't even know how to use it, man. It was like one of these giant. What was it? Sony? It was a Canon, big old Canon, and we were acting like we were like Girls Gone Wild. And we were filming for them, and we're at the bar, and we're like, "Yeah, we're doing a TV show," and everybody's like really going crazy, and we're filming the band. It was just like, and that's when we met Kane. Remember Kane?
That's right. Yes, Kane.
Yeah. It was just nobody really knew anybody back then. I mean, it was. You knew somebody because of Doording.com, but you didn't see their profile. You know who they were.
You didn't know who they were.
Face.
Yeah. I remember. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I remember when it comes to MTE, Wade Hartley trained me, and he always was on Doording, and we would get on Doording. And Sal Contreras was a huge guy on Doording.com, but he always pushed natural reflection. And it was like the first year that Sal Contreras was coming to MTE, and Wade was just going around and was like, I wonder if he's just going to bring like a big fake plant just to put there and use that to read for the Den Olympics.
I think his first one was Corpus Christi, which was
that was my first MTE one. Ever.
Yeah, that was mine. That was my first one too.
That was a terrible introduction to MTE.
Yeah, I didn't go for a few years after that because I was like, okay, this is what it's all about. Yeah. Fun story about Corpus Christi that I learned from the guys at NAPDRT. They're always helping behind the scenes. The day before MTE in Corpus Christi, there was like a cattle and livestock show.
Yes.
And so they show up and it smells like a barn. Just straight up horse manure. And so they went to Walmart and just bought a crap ton of candles and air fresheners. So when you walked in, there was just all on the perimeter of the entire building where all these these candles lit.
I'm going to stay with Corpus Christi for a second because myself and Mike, when we showed up there, we flew into Corpus Christi. There's a handful of stories that come from that one, but one that sticks out the most is that we shared. I believe the hotel was a Holiday Inn. Across the street was a convenience store. There was a bunch of murder shacks everywhere. It was out in the middle of nowhere, right? Yeah. So remember the three-legged dog going across the street to the convenience store, and then I believe we shared a parking lot. The Holiday Inn shared a parking lot with the strip club right next door, right? And so we kind of like, we're at a men's convention. Let's pop in there and see the local talent of Corpus Christi out in the
toothless stripper.
The toothless stripper, and I believe she was like 7 or 8 months pregnant too. So we literally had one drink and got the hell out of there as quick as
I had 3, so I couldn't remember.
But then we were introduced to downtown Corpus Christi, and we're like, thank God. That was my first introduction to Texas. I'm like, there's no way I'll ever go back to Texas ever again. And here
you are. Awesome. What is it? We've got a couple of guys on here that have a story or two about MTE. We got Steven Hamby, Hambalicious, Hambum.
Yes, sir. What up?
Bro, do you have any?
Matt, unmute yourself.
You got a good story?
I am unmuted.
Okay. He's talking to me. Yeah. I got dogs running around and kids playing, so I was muted.
Oh, it's Matty Moore.
Matt Moore.
Mr. Moore. Man.
Georgia boys. So, Steven, give us your MTE story so we can hear, and then we can kick you out of here. So you don't have to stick around.
All right. So you got time for two? I'll make them quick.
Sure.
Okay, cool. All right. So one of my favorite things about the convention is going to be the Drunken Tool review. That's probably one of the highlights of the entire event for me. It's like 50 guys crammed into a room, tables loaded with tools, and just geeking out on tools. Yeah. Really enjoy that. And
you're the only sober one there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Me and Hudson were talking about when you're one of the only sober ones there and everybody else is getting hammered, you get to just watch the decline of everyone around you. And it's a really magical thing to be able to see that. And one thing that sticks out in my mind, I don't think this was last year, I think it was the year before, was my buddy Dave Streen. He's always there, and he's a great guy to hang around, and he, will show his tools off and everything. And but he likes to drink a good bit, and he was talking about his tools and calling them by the wrong names, which was really funny. And his wife was sitting over on the couch, and he would say, "This is the little pecker," and she'd go, "Polish knob," like that. And she was just saying all of the things that he was saying wrong. But what was the most funny is just before he got on camera, and he had worked on my website, so we kind of developed a relationship that way. He came up to me, and he was walking past me to go to stand in front of the camera, and he goes, "If I do anything that's embarrassing, just push me down." Like that. And
too late. And
that was just really funny for me. So the Drunken Tool review and just the camaraderie with all the guys is just it's I get more out of that than buying the tools at the show. I love that part about the show. The second thing that I wanted to mention was, outside of the show. So I believe it was me, Matt, you were there, Hudson, you were there. I think Matt's guys, Mark and Taylor, were there. We were walking around Disney Springs, and we went and did the virtual reality Star Wars, where they were the Oculus goggles. And man, I felt like a kid again doing that, getting to run around through there and shoot Darth Vader and the stormtroopers and stuff. And we all had a blast. And, just hanging out outside of the show, going to dinners, just getting to know each other better. I feel like it really makes a close bond with the Dent guys. We're kind of like an extended family, and that just kind of strengthens that when we go do things like that together.
Yeah, I agree, Stephen. I think sometimes I'm even at the second day of the show, I'm kind of looking at my watch, like, can this get over yet so we can just go hang out? Is this over yet? Like, can we just hurry this up?
Yeah. Plus, it's fun hearing grown men giggle like little girls when they see Darth Vader come out or something like that. It was fun.
Yeah.
Matt, what do you got, man?
So MTE story. I'll tell you my very first MTE memory. This is not terribly long ago. My first one was probably 6 years ago, I think, was the first MTE I came to. And didn't know really anyone that I was coming to. I kind of knew of people and maybe had some phone calls, but didn't know anyone in person. And Derek Reed with Dent Wizard is in Georgia, and he's not too far from me. And so I reached out to him on Facebook and was like, "Dude, I don't know anyone there. You want to grab a beer? Let's just hang out." So I drive down, and I get down. I pull into the hotel at like 11:30 at night, and I pull into the little valet, and I'm going to unload some tools and then my bags, and then go. And I've got my tool in the back of my truck and everything. And I pull out, and Derek happens to be sitting right out front, right there in the driveway. So introduce myself, we chat. Corey Fisher's there, Michael Bosick's there. And so we start hanging out, and they've got basically an empty case of 24 Miller Lights, and they're halfway done with another case of beer. And they've been out there for 4 hours at this point, just drinking. And so I just joined in, and we start drinking, and we're having a good time. And a few hours go by. My truck's still parked. My bags are still on the side of the curb. And Corey's cousin, I guess, showed up with his rental car, and he pulls it up. And this thing has a couple of dings on it. And Corey, we go into, as a dent guy, it's hard to walk by a car with a dent and not do anything about it.
Sure.
And they grab my tools out of my truck and start trying to fix this rental car dents. And this was the very first ever drunk dent Olympics. And I'm sure I think Daniel, you came out at one point.
Yeah.
Carl Stuckey came out and brought like his very new prototype light. And we were literally just genuinely, there was nowhere. It was just, we were drunk fixing dents in a parking lot.
Was that the year I cracked paint?
That was,
No.
I believe, the year you cracked paint was the next year.
Yeah.
That was the year Wade
We
fell
all
asleep
cracked
in the
paint.
trunk.
That was the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wade fell asleep in the trunk that second year.
But that was the beauty of that one. That was the best one of all
It was
because
just-
it was organic. It wasn't.
And we definitely like hacked up some dents on cars too. So, but yeah, it was, I still to this day don't know if it was a kind of like middle finger to the actual Dent Olympics, like, screw you guys, I don't need you. We're just gonna, we're drunk, we can fix that, whatever. But
that sounds like Corey Fisher.
A little bit, but it was a good time. We had a really good time, and it was a very good introduction. Again, as this guy who didn't know a lot of people, I get there and like, this is what this thing's about. So it was fun.
Yeah. I do remember that.
We owe it all to you for starting that. Then
No,
didn't
you owe
realize
it you owe it to Corey and Derek for starting drinking about 2 hours before.
Yeah, but you had the tools.
I remember the tools.
They were using my tools out of the back of my truck.
On the back of your truck. It was in front of the car. I remember that. We were all grabbing them going out there.
Yeah, we're like,
And
what
everyone
is easy dick
judging
removal?
my tools. Yeah, thanks. They were all judging my tools, and I felt very self-conscious about all these like guys that were doing a lot better than me, looking at my like rusty old bent dial there and my whatever, and so it was good. It was fun though. We had a good time.
And I wish I knew you then.
Yeah,
That was
Sorry.
good. You know what?
Matt gets embarrassed easily, so
This is an odd thing because Mike, you were around for this. Daniel was around for this, but I just got a memory on my Facebook feed that said 6 years ago. It showed a picture of us at a restaurant that we were eating at right before we got on the plane, and that's where we introduced. You guys filmed Cola Fria for the first time.
Yeah, remember
That's
that?
6 years ago.
remember that.
6 years ago today.
Yeah, so the story behind that was Cola Fria was there with a booth, and they were selling the Cola Fria with a slide hammer, a custom-made slide hammer, for like $450.
Everyone's like, no way.
Nobody was buying it. Nobody. And I looked at it and I go, I think this thing's got potential. And I think I talked him down a little bit of money, but I paid I think I paid $400. I got $50 off.
$450.
Like that.
I remember clearly.
Yeah, and it was expensive, and Mike and Vince were like giving me a hard time and saying, "Why'd you waste your money on that? Why'd you waste your money on that?" And then I go, "Wait, no way, watch!" And we had our rental car, and I put a fist dent in the B pillar.
Yeah.
And Mike's like, well, let me film this, and gets it on film, and the rest was history after that. The guys were like, whoa.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube, and that's probably one of the biggest views out there of Cola.
Let me show, we got lucky though, because we did it completely wrong. The freaking he stacks the freaking glue, half the glue on there. So we've got like maybe a 3-inch build or 4-inch build on the tab, and no stretching it, no getting it ready, nothing like that. We're just like smushing it in, and just smacking it,
Yeah.
Luckily it was a heavy slide hammer, because if it wasn't, it probably wouldn't do nothing, and he might have left it in the trash can over there. But
Yeah.
That's a lesson for the guys who develop new tools. They need to have clear set instructions to the very first people that put it in the hands of, because I think a lot of tools someone tries it incorrectly and it gets tossed on the shelf because they don't know how to do it right or whatever. But and those kind of things, I think it's important to have videos, or having even sending it to guys they can test it and put some videos together. That's important just for the communities to understand.
Yeah.
All right. So
hold on. Before we move on, I needed to say we need to give a shout out to James Lee on that. That year, the Cola Fria guy, he was going to suitcase. He was going to sell things out of a suitcase, and people were giving him a hard time. The guy selling the Cola Fria.
Yeah.
And James Lee like saw his product and was like, and just said, you know what, man, just come to my booth. I'll give you a spot in my booth. And that's the kind of dude James Lee is. So I think James Lee needs to get a shout out on that because no one would have seen it if it wasn't for James.
I didn't know that. That's good, man.
James Lee was like, here, dude, just throw that hood right there and show everyone. And I remember that year, and I was like, that's super cool. So I think James
Lee, though, Hudson, I don't think it was good that James did that, but their demonstrations weren't very good. And I don't think they even knew how to use the glue at the time. You know what I mean? So how I found out, it was some Asian guy. I don't know who it is, but he goes, "Oh, you need to stretch that glue." And as soon as I stretched it became super sticky. And then I told those guys, I said, "Yeah, you guys got to really know how to use that product. That's the only failure you had." And then once the word got out, right? That way, and back to you, Matt, saying, that's super important is to know that product. So.
Absolutely.
If you guys want to see a lot of old videos of Cola Fria, the early days of the cold glue, not like where we're at now with all these custom tabs and everything. So if you just go to the PDR Tool Time Facebook page and just do a search for Cola Fria, you'll find a collection from early 2016. Everybody doing video reviews. This is how it works. This is how you can do it. It's like a time machine vault on the PDR Tool Time page. So just
we got that available, to go back and. But just think, it was only 6 years ago that we didn't have it, and now like it's evolved. Just like hot glue, everyone doubted hot glue to begin with, and now we can't live without hot glue. And now we're finding out that how quickly cola free or cold glue is making a big impact on our industry.
Yeah, Kiko's got a full line of small tabs specifically set with slide hammers, specifically designed for cold glue use,
which work really well.
Yeah.
I'm not lying when I tell you guys that I use cold glue every day. Like there's not a day that goes by that I'm not getting it out and using it on something.
Yeah. It's speeding up the process, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if this isn't too far off subject, we use it for two scenarios for our customers. So, because we don't know what kind of customer we're dealing with. We don't know if we want the customer that's going, "Hey, I just want it better for the big dents," or if they want the full repair. So we give them two options, in which is we don't call it we're going to pop it out. We call it a rapid PDR repair, which using the cold glue, and I like that. It's anywhere between $150 to $200, and that's within 1 minute to 3 minutes. Or after that, it jumps up to $500 to $900 to get out the rest of the damage. So, Cola Fria is a huge asset. So that's what we use it for mainly.
Yeah,
Mike, I'll go off that a little bit. I do something similar. I like what you do, and that you charge for it. I do because we base all of our pricing off of inches, right? I'll go and I'll see a dent that I know is going to pop, and you can tell it's like, okay, this is like a Toyota Camry. Like they're just trying to make it look better, and they don't want to spend a lot. So I'll go up there and I'm like, look, let me just, if I measure right now, you're at $700 because this is a foot long dent. I go, let me do an initial reaction to the metal and see what happens, and then whatever happens later, I'll measure it after, and that's what I'll charge you. So that's where I use cold glues. I'll go in there and I'll do some quick pulls, and it'll go from 12 inches of damage down to like 6 inches of damage. And that just knocked off like $300. And I let them know that, like, if I would have measured this before, it would have been this much, but I just did this quick reaction. And usually the customer is happy about that.
I know. And that's what I'm saying. That's it. I wouldn't want to leave any money on the table because that's what they're paying you for, to help you. Yeah. I think that's it. I think if you do it suggested, try to do it the way I do it and let them know and say, there's no obligation to go to option number 2 if you want to stick with option number 1.
Yeah, I like that. What'd you call it? Rapid dent removal?
Rapid PDR repair.
Yeah, that's
Rapid PDR repair.
Nice.
Cool. That's good. Get the .com.
Yeah.
Matt, you probably have similar stuff at your store. You do many different types of repairs going on, and you have CCC that you write with, and Mobile Tech RX and everything else. So I'm sure you run the gamut.
Yeah, and yet all the software and money I throw at it, in like the first 5 minutes of this phone call, I'm writing down rapid PDR repair because I'm learning from guys smarter than me over here. So, I mean that so much of it from a clients, it's just marketing. It's learning how to meet them where they're at and speak to them on a language that they understand. And so that's a great example of it is when you get a client that they want to spend something, they're not calling you because they don't expect to spend nothing. They just don't want to spend $700 on their Camry or whatever it is. Again, the way I look at it in our shop, and the way I think shop owners, and not to go off on this too much, if that customer calls you, walks in your door, or shoots you an email, you've paid money for that lead somewhere. You've either paid for an AdWords, you paid for the website, or you've paid for the sign on the door, you paid through your sweat equity, but you paid for it somehow. So you better get something for that.
Sure.
If you can get some money, but it's better than no money. And if you can't, and this again goes off a little bit getting nerdy, but use Mobile Tech RX to your advantage. Even if you don't do the job, save that customer's info, because then you can use them in your CRM down the road. You can do MailChimp or whatever it is. So that's basically what I preach, is just collecting as much as you can, because you never know, and do something with it. So
absolutely. Yeah. All right, so let's go back. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I'm saying everything's data, though. You know what I mean?
It's all data.
When you learn your customers really well, you find different avenues to create more income, and that was one that I identified and helped. Because you as a business owner don't understand, or you assume that, hey, let's hit them at $700. Well, you don't know that customer. You don't know if they're that type of customer or not. Yeah, so hit the both avenues of those customers. So that's my reasoning for, and it's the data gathering of the experience that you deal with clients in and out.
And this sounds like a whole nother episode.
Yes. Yeah. Right. That's my thought. Exactly. Yeah. Right. I'll get us back. Vince.
Yeah,
we were going to have one guy on that had a great story that was going to surprise you with, but he is at church this morning because we're recording on a Sunday.
Okay.
And it was Mr. Dan Ontrop with PDR Contractors.
Yeah. Okay.
He was telling me about his first ever MTE, and he got to spend some time with you. And there was somehow you lost your wedding ring. You took it off at a bar. What is this story about taking your wedding ring off at a bar when your wife isn't around with Dan Ontrop?
Mike was there. I think Daniel, were you there?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. So we were all hanging out. There was a bunch of us. A lot of things happened that night, but we started off drinking Irish car bombs at some Irish pub that was at Universal City Walk, right?
Yeah.
And all these guys are comparing their wedding rings. Oh yeah, mine's this, mine's that.
Whatever.
It was true story.
True story. And I'm sitting at the bar, and they're like, "What do you got, Vince?" I'm like, "Well, mine's platinum. It's comfort fit, and I haven't taken it off in years." Right? So I go to take it off, and it hurt. It hurt taking it off because I'd never taken it off before. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we looked at it," and then I let my fingers, go down and swelling, and I stuck it in my pocket. Well, a few Irish car bombs later, and like 4 other clubs, we closed Universal City. It was all us dent guys, and behind us was security, and they were pushing us out. We were the last ones out. And
imagine that.
Yeah, right. And Dan, I looked down, I'm like, "Oh, where's my wedding ring?" And I went in my pocket, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I lost it." And Dan sprung into action. He's like, "Oh man, we got to go back and look for it." I'm like, we've been to like 5 different places, but let's give it a shot. And the security, we told them what happened. They're like, "Yeah, you better go back and find that. You're going to get your ass handed to you." And we went back, and we were unsuccessful finding it. There's like Lupita and Juanita sweeping up the clubs. And like, "Have you found a ring?" Like, "No, sir." And of course they didn't find it, or they did and stuck it in their pockets. And I don't know what happened to it. But Miss Wade Hartley's wife, Marissa, had to call my wife the next day and explain that. And here I am. I'm still kind of hungover.
And here's a strange lady, which my wife had never met before, calling my wife saying, "Hey,
oh yeah, that's gonna go over big.
your husband lost his wedding ring last night, and I'm here to attest that it's honest. You know, he really lost it." Like,
so funny.
And who are you?
I think some
I'm
of my
the girl that
favorite
spent the
memories-
night with them last night.
Well, what about Shane Roses, man? Shane Roses comes with us, and usually I'm the one that loses stuff.
Yeah.
Shane Roses comes with us, and the first day he gets there, he loses his license. So he calls his wife. She sends him his passport.
Overnight.
He was getting ready to go back home. He loses his passport.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you know, I don't know how he got on that plane, dude. They said they checked.
I remember.
They let him on. I forgot.
It actually it was to our benefit because we got to TSA and we told them the story, and they're like, "All right, you 5 knuckleheads, get over here in this line." And we actually got like streamlined through past, you know, the herd of kids and families at Orlando Airport, and they let them on. I mean, this was post 9/11, and we're a bunch of, you know, 5 white boys going back to California, all hungover and drunk still. And it was pretty funny. I remember that. It's good.
Some of my favorite stories, for some reason, always involve events. And what is this about? Whenever the new, I think it was the Eliminate glue guns had come out.
Oh, Stucky.
Or was it the Stucky glue gun that had come out? You want to share with us this?
Was it a Stucky gun or was it a little Eliminate?
I think it was Stucky.
And what happened? What happened, Vince, with this glue gun the first year it came out?
Well, we started in.
He got MTE kicked out of the Caribe Royale, is what he did.
Oh yeah, I think it was a Stucky.
No,
We were never welcome back there.
that was the rumor, but that was not the truth, because we clarified that with Kevin Halen when we had him on. But I think we had been drinking, of course, and we started off in our suite, and I took the glue gun and I started gluing everything on the way back to the hotel, or the hotel bar, which was across. And poor, God rest his soul, Tim Childers, I didn't realize it was his truck, but I laid a stream of glue all the way from taillight to the.
I didn't know you did that, dude.
Yeah, I was just walking gluing everything, right?
I don't think he knew that. Now he does.
Didn't you glue you glued beer bottles to like tables and stuff?
I did at the bar. And where I got in trouble is when I went up to the bar to get a drink, and there was some change left up there for the tip for the bartender, right? And I glued the dollar bill and the change onto the bar top. And oh man, he wasn't having it.
He had to use a little well vodka to get it free.
He shut down the bar, didn't he? Like for a second, like he was about to.
Oh, he had security there, but it was at him.
Oh yeah, they surrounded us. Remember that? They came right.
We had to calm him down. Say, "Oh, it comes off with alcohol."
If you don't have like a glue gun story, are you really a dent guy? Honestly, if you haven't done something with glue. Later, Steven.
Thanks for coming on and sharing your stories. We appreciate you.
Poor guys.
I appreciate you having me on. No, that's fine. My wife and kids are waiting on me to walk out the door, so I wanted to take the time to say thanks for having me on. And I love all you guys. And sucks I didn't get to see you this year, but that just means the next time will be all that better. All that much better.
Absolutely.
All right,
brother.
See you, Steven.
See you guys. Take it easy.
Matt says it. Says bye, everyone. Bye, Felicia.
Yeah. Said bye, Felicia. What a sucker. All right. See you later.
Now there was another story with Mike, if you remember, back to Corpus Christi when we were trying to fly out of this tiny little airport back to LA, Corpus Christi Airport, and there was a line. This is post 9/11, and I've never seen security so secure at a small airport or any airport. Even, you know, they were screening all of us, wiping our hands down, checking it. And this is the first time I realized that it was all a bunch of hoo-ha. Because myself and Mike, and I don't know who else was with us, maybe Shane Rosas, we were waiting to get onto the plane. It was my mic.
Bebo. It was Bebo.
And
right?
Bebo and my mic that was my painter. And the guys in front of us or behind us, they were from Illinois, and they had just got off the field from a pig hunt for like 5 days. They're covered in gunpowder, right? And beer and whatever else. And here they are getting pre-screened and wiped down, right? And they're just flying right through. And here we are getting stopped and getting our bags checked and you know, they're going through our tools and this and that. We're like, what the hell? And we met these guys in the bar afterwards waiting on the plane. They're like, yeah, it's all a bunch of BS. We normally fly our private planes down here to Texas, but, you know, couldn't get medical clearance, blah, blah, blah. He goes, we pull our trucks right up to our plane, load it up with ammo and guns and everything, and off we go. And this is the first time we've had to fly commercial. And here we are getting stopped. And he's like, we're covered in gunpowder. We've just been shooting everything we possibly can. So I don't know.
That's why we got stopped, because we're from California. We don't have guns, and we're freaking aliens in that state.
We didn't have camo on.
That's a flag right there. What? No guns?
No camo, no guns?
No doubt.
Hudson, back to the glue story real quick. So I remember one time before cordless glues came out, cordless glue guns, we were doing mobile, obviously, and we had the 12-volt plug-in into the car. So I didn't want to use the customer's battery for that. So I plugged it into mine, and I had one of my techs, and I said, hey, go get a tab. And this is before we knew what the hell we're doing with glue. And we had a tab about that big, and he fills it up, man. He stacks that glue in there like this, and he's running over, and he's trying. I go, hey, watch out! And the glue's like comes dripping like on his thumb and his hand. He's like, I go, don't. It's like slow motion. Don't pull it off. And he's like, and you can see, and he goes. And he's getting right off. And I start laughing, dude. It's like I can't stop laughing. And he's so pissed off. You can see his head just getting so red, and he's in pain, and he's mad at the same time because I'm laughing. And I told you, don't pull it off, man. So anyways, I must have burned myself dozens of times like that. But that was one of the worst ones that I can remember.
You guys know I was trained by Wade Hartley, and so Wade just likes to pull pranks, and his pranks aren't like silly. Like you're getting hurt if Wade's pulling a prank on you. And I was training, and I'm over here, and I've just got like my hand on a rail somewhere, and I'm like looking at something. I forgot what it is, and he comes up behind me and just squirts fresh hot glue directly onto my thumbnail, just straight out of the gun. And I was like, oh, and he's like, stop being such a baby. It doesn't hurt. And like 5 or 6 years later, he accidentally got some glue on his like nail. And he was like, he called me after because he goes, I'm so sorry that I ever did that to you. That was one of the worst pains of my life.
It's like second, third degree burns.
Dude. Yeah. If he put him on my thumbnail. So I guess I lucked out that way. Good night. So one more glue story. Go, Matt.
Yeah. So glue story. The very first, I don't know if you guys had this. I'm sure y'all did. The very first cordless glue gun I ever saw was the Charlie Molina's prototype.
Yes, I have that bad boy.
Yeah. So I still have it. It still works to this day. And so he shows it. I'd say I want one. He sends me one. And so I'm at a car show, and it was one of those that I work early in the morning, and there's like 3 hours in the middle of the day. Nobody's there. Everybody's running their cars, and then I work in the evening, and it's like an S2000 car show that I used to do every year. And so we go to this thing, and I've got like 3 hours, and I'm like, you know what? I see Myke doing this. I see, John, I see all these people doing these review videos of these tools. I'm going to do a review video and send it to Charlie. This is going to be really cool. He's going to really appreciate this. So I sit down, and I'm in my little lowrider snap-on chair, and I'm sitting there, and I'm showing the glue, and I'm talking about it. And I sent him the video, and he was super like, oh, that's really kind. And he shared it a couple times. And I go home, and I'm like, hey, talking to my wife, I said, did you see the video? And she's like, that's a terrible angle. I said, what? And I look at it, and you could totally see, like, I'm wearing gym shorts, basically. My, like, cock and balls are, like, tightened up against my pants. It's like the worst angle you could possibly do. And I was like, I wasn't even looking at it, because I'm looking at the gun, and I'm looking at, like, man, as long as the lighting's hitting my face, and it's like, it's terrible looking.
No, Charlie's like, yeah.
So I've never made a review video for anyone since then. People send me stuff. I'm like, nah, just send it to somebody else. Maybe it increased the sales. Who knows?
I'll share my glue one. Since we're so off topic, there was this one service writer at one of our body shops that no one liked this guy. He didn't work hard. He was always just, no one liked him. He complained, whatever. He had this giant F-250 truck. It was like his baby. I mean, he waxed it by hand and everything. And one day I was working on a hail car, and during my lunchtime, I found this gray piece of foam, and I was using tab weld at the time, glue. And I took my pocket knife out and I whittled like a very lifelike penis and scrotum out of this. And then like I took the tab weld and I like made veins on it. And then I put a bunch of it on the bottom and I just stuck it to the hood, right, as like a hood ornament on the front of his F-250. And this dude lost it. Like he almost got fired. Lost it so bad. And he didn't know it was me. But like everyone,
how would he not know it was you? You're the only guy walking around with a glue gun.
Well, he didn't know how it was attached. He didn't know. It was just all of a sudden this penis, and he tried like grabbing it and ripping it off. And it wouldn't come off. Oh, it was so great.
Can we really talk about MTE and glue and not bring up the infamous glue pot?
Glue pot. Oh, that's true. I think two out of 6 of us probably bought that glue pot.
I think I still own it, but it's not taken out of the package, dude.
I don't know what you guys are crying about. I still use it.
Yeah.
No, you
what?
Don't.
A big
I go
heat up chili.
I go to Vince. I go to Daniel. I go, do you still got a glue pot? He's all, yeah. I turn it on every morning. And I was like, for what? He's like, well, if the glue pulled really good, he goes, I take it off, and I go, oh, you deserve to go in the pot. It's like he calls it the jacuzzi, dude.
Yeah, it's my jacuzzi. It's my drip.
A little Scentsy oil in it, just like
when you start up your glue gun, it drips into that thing, and then instead of having a big pile of old tab or old glue, I just throw it in the hot tub, and it melts.
You reuse it or what?
No, I don't reuse it.
All right. Can any of you recall any tool?
It's fun.
Being as big of a popular flop as that glue pot?
No, I don't think so, dude. No, that's got to be the most.
The curved light, maybe.
What?
The curved light.
The Moonlight by
the
Technology. It was so heavy that no stand could hold it.
Yeah, but
that was just because the hype was so big.
It's not because it didn't work though.
It worked. I still had one back in my shop. In fact, if someone wants one, go to Santa Ana, California. It's in my shop.
My friend Troy Parks has one here in Houston.
Yeah, it did work though.
It works. Yeah, I mean, I think he was onto something, but it was too heavy.
Yeah.
Need some materials that are out today.
So there's some other stories that usually go along the lines of the fellowship and the camaraderie. There's been a lot of nakedness at MTE throughout the years. Some of the things I often remember was Wade Hartley and Clifton Atkins, the Rat Brain. Remember the Rat Brain for those?
You mean his belt buckle?
Yeah, that was Clifton had the belt buckle, but Wade before the belt buckle was the Rat Brain.
Wait, I don't remember the Rat Brain.
Might have been before your time.
Explain in detail this brain.
No, we can't talk about that.
No. And what about Woody Koss? He's one of the naked people too, man. Shoot.
Always.
I love Wade Hartley when you were able to buy advertising on his chest.
Oh yeah, that's right. TDN was the first one.
He would shave a logo into his chest.
Yeah, and TDN gave him a TDN cart. That was their first year coming out with the TDN cart. They gave him a small cart, and to this day, Jason Thrasher uses that cart to this day.
We squeezed Wade into a child's small pink Mobile Tech RX t-shirt. That one kind of went all over Facebook a little while back. So here's Wade running around with this just teeny. And that was Micah's first year with the company. And Wade's running around. Now, if you ever knew Micah outside, he redefines notoriously cheap. Oh. His daughter still has that pink T-shirt that it took 3 adults to pry off of Wade because he was incapable of getting out of it on his own.
Wow. See, I was
yeah,
I was talking to the new marketing person. This poor girl she's in her 30s and she does marketing for Mobile Tech RX. And I was talking to her and I'm like, and she was talking about some of the things they plan on doing. I'm like, do you know your audience? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, are you familiar with Dent Guys? She's like, well, I mean, it's marketing. I'm like, no. Let me just, and I sent her this photo and I said, Dent Guy marketing at its finest.
Yeah.
And she's like,
oh boy.
Well, along those lines is, you mentioned Woody and Drew's tools. Drew Lechtenberg, like the guy, love him. Some people hate him, whatever. He's pretty dull sense of humor. That's one thing that we could all agree on with Drew is he's got a very dull sense of humor. And Woody at the time, Woody was new on the scene, and I think he was only a technician for maybe 1 or 2 years. But that's how he made his mark on the PDR industry. No one knew who this guy was. He was a goofball that, he came up to Mike and myself, and at the time I was the guy behind the cameras, and he goes to Mike, we're going to play a prank on Drew. And Drew at the time used to have really hot models at his booth. And, a bunch of guys would hang out at his booth just to check out his new hot models. And they were pretty darn cute. And I used it as an excuse as a cameraman to get up close and personal to these really hot models, right? So, and they didn't mind. My camera was like 3 inches away from their goods, but they didn't mind. Remember, Mike? He's like, all right, can you videotape this? And that's what we did was Mike was interviewing Drew, and the whole thing was somewhat planned.
It was staged, yeah.
It was totally staged.
Yeah.
And, I was on the camera, and Mike was doing the actual interview. And we're also seeing, if you're watching this, you're going to see Matt Nutshot on his video here that Hudson's showing us. But anyways, it was staged. It was funny as hell. Drew was pissed off because that was going on. But I think in hindsight, it really brought a lot of attention to Drew. And
it did. I think Drew later realized, you know what, that wasn't so bad, but he was heated. I didn't know. I didn't think he was that bad, but he was pissed. So
yeah, he was pissed. It brought a lot of light to Drew's tools.
That's actually on YouTube too, as well. That interview. So it's all those stuff. It's when I first met Wade. I was like, what's going on with this guy, man? Like, I can't read him very well, I just, this guy's like a Looney Tune, dude, And then the next time I did a video, like a collaboration, I showed Wade in the video, and then I put Woody Woodpecker, like he was going crazy. So it's in there. It's in the archive of MTE videos, but you guys just have to really check that out.
Funny.
MTE is wholly underrated if somebody hasn't gone.
Now I'm starting to miss it a lot right now.
Yeah. Well, what can you do? Well,
is Vegas on track? Is it happening? Is that the word?
Vegas is on track. Yes,
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
And in the meantime, we're going to have a great, super great turnout. I'll take that visual at the Anson Open House and May 8th. I know it's Mother's Day weekend, but if you could come out that Saturday, there's a lot of stuff going on that week. The Dent Trainer will be having their mega media event going on that week.
Gene Fetty's doing his PDR 20, right?
Yeah, Gene Fetty will be doing the PDR 20 on Sunday. I'm sure we'll have some type of IMI certification sometime after that, or
tied into that. So our building's not even open at Anson, and we already have 3 booked events all in one week. So it's going to be a pretty incredible week to be down in Texas. And the weather should still be good in May.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're about at the 1 hour mark. I did want to show a couple tools that I do have that you guys might appreciate as well that you don't have. For the Gorilla grips that you guys have, there's 2 versions. There's the standard Gorilla grip and the T-handle, right? Well, now within the next couple of weeks, this was supposed to be unveiled at MTE as a prototype. We now have the inline handle.
Ooh.
So by inline, that means if you have like the tequila ice pick, right?
Yeah.
That you would do where you're pushing down on, right? You're pushing it down on a horizontal surface, like on a hood. Yeah. This is where you're going to use that, correct?
Exactly. And so that just adds to your hub collection. Or if you're thinking about taking your picks and putting hubs on them, you now have your inline tools. You could make them hubs. Now the buttons on the backside right here. And what I like about it is that it's oval. So you could actually, if you have to side load, you use your thumb to twist a little bit.
What I think you were going to say with, go ahead.
Can you call that the lightsaber? Because that's what it looks like.
I know.
The hilt. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It is. The Luke Skywalker.
I know.
Do you have any kyber crystals to go with that?
I don't know what that is. I don't watch The Mandalorian.
So the one thing that's kind of cool with that though is with that button and that oval, you could use it to show where your tip is.
Yeah.
So once you put it in the table, you can always know where it's bending up.
It would be cool though too, is to put put some you can screw in like the side of it. If you had little holes on the side of it where you could put 2 balls on each side of it, dude. So maybe that's a good idea or not a good idea. Set you up, man. So no, literally,
that's a fun.
Literally, I'm not lying.
That's the fun thing about a lot of guys don't realize that don't have this yet. This is 3 handles in one. You got the long version, right? You got the short version with a smaller handle. And you could do the same with the T, and you could do the same with this inline. So now you got a smaller handle here, right? And if you want to go even smaller, because the original Gorilla grip comes with 2 of these, right? Like that, right?
Yeah.
Nobody works that shaft over like you do, Vince.
Yeah, you're pretty good at it.
I do demos on these all day long at Anson. Now you got a smaller one, and the best one, if you get those tequila tools with indexing hubs, this is what I like the best, and a lot of guys don't do it, is just the ball. And Myke, I know you've done just the ball.
I love 2 balls on mine, dude.
Yeah, I don't even know how you do that. You're gonna have to show me that. But,
no, with the other one I'm talking about.
Does one hang down a little further than the other?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I don't have any tools to slip in here right now, but I mean that alone is really cool like that.
Really, and it doesn't require you don't feel like it. You got to really.
No, you're talking tequila hand tools, correct?
Yeah, you're talking.
If you put
left and right
one on there and you're going underneath a headliner.
Yeah. You don't need all that torque that the large handle.
True that.
And there's the inline with just the ball on it, so you can go all different lengths on it too. So just keep in mind if you do have it, because sometimes you guys need a visual to see that you have options. Yeah. And I'm showing you those options now.
I'm sure you guys gone over this with your guys' tools stuff, but man, these handles systems are just
phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we've worked. This is why I'll be honest with you, this is why we have carpal tunnel today doing these repairs. Absolutely. Because we didn't have these tools that are coming out now. I mean, the leverage points, because we're forced and married to hold a tool in an awkward position and losing the torque. And, it's just unbelievable.
I use mine like that, how Vince has it right now. Hold it right where it connects to the tool and run it right down my forearm.
Use the body leverage,
So for people listening, Vince has made the handle for the handle that's like a 90 degree, probably about a foot long. so that instead of putting your hand on it to push, you just put it against your forearm and just kind of push with your shoulder and elbow, you would say?
Yeah. And everything is threaded 5/16 18 threads. So it's all interchangeable now. And now that this is kind of like the last piece of the puzzle, the inline. So now you could cover all your tools. You have the original, you have the T handle, and you have
the inline. I've been screwing for the inline since day one that I got a hold of it.
As a tail guy, I could see that.
I told. Well, I was with Ultra. I told him years ago to make the inline, and he made it 2 years ago. I had to make a custom one for me, and then now it's more usable than people can imagine.
Yeah, Ram pickups. Like I go through the door to do the fender on Ram pickups a lot. And T handles, any form of an L handle is just obnoxious and in the way. But I'll run it sometimes, especially the passenger side, to get down past that antenna and get a good view. You're using a 4-foot rod, and man, that inline handle on that 4-foot double shot, it would just be the dream for me.
Did you say antenna? Antenna? Down the antenna?
By the antenna.
Oh. All right.
Awesome.
Groovy.
Vince, do we want to share that next one for next week? Or it's already on the screen.
Well, there you go. It's out there. The B&D is selling it. This is the only one else that's out there right now. Y'all are going to be pissed off if you have one of these already because it's not retrofitted. This is.
Yeah, that pisses me off. I was really upset when I found that out, Vince.
I understand.
It's a whole new tool. Purposely made. It's purposely made for that arch.
Buy another one.
You'll notice that where the new bridge attaches to, that arm is a little bit shorter now, and it is actually machined. The bridge is going through the arm in itself to keep that as a bit more of a compact body. Yeah, and that allows you to spin that bridge, lock it into place a little bit tighter. I think those of us that attempt to mount that bridge on the top of one of our other arms, you're going to find a lot of side-to-side play and some real heavy twisting motion.
Okay,
and it looks to me that B&D has eliminated that by machining that through that arm.
Okay, for the listeners,
thank you.
Try to explain what the hell you're holding and what is it for.
Okay, it is the B&D fender pliers, okay? Mm-hmm. And the fender pliers now come with, this is version 3, it's called version 3, and it now comes with a bridge that they call it a see-through bridge, or I forgot what the exact words he had, but you could see through now. It's not, you don't have an obstructive view where in the center it's carved out, so you could spin it either way. You could see exactly what you're pushing on or pulling on while using it.
The one advantage of that is like on the edge of a rear door on like an SUV, and that where it's curved. Mm-hmm. And if you're straight, you're only going to get 1 foot on that curve, so it matches the curve. Or on a dog leg, if you're pushing through the double metal on a dog leg, that's where that comes in handy.
Is that strong enough to go through a dog leg, though? Do you think?
Yeah, I've gone through a dog leg on some models.
They have to be smashed. They have to be like right on top.
You could do that on a Model 3 Tesla on the rear panel, because I freaking accidentally tweaked the hell out of it using cold glue, and I could have used that one.
Yeah.
Well, B&D calls this the articulating panel pliers, and we'll have a link to those on their website on
right now they're only available at B&D. It's part of the deal. So
what's the retail on that?
The retail, I believe,
$300.
is $100. Yeah,
$300.
And I do like the powder coating on it this time, or it's anodizing. It's silver. It's kind of a cool
pewter.
Yeah.
Now, does the feet still have that felt or that rubber?
The rubber, yeah. That's probably the Achilles heel of that tool, right, Mike?
Yeah, I would love to see leather on that, dude.
Yeah. You could always put leather on it if you wanted.
Yeah, I know. I was just saying it looked good if they had it already there.
And they do articulate as well. They do go side to side as well on the bridge itself. If you do need to bring the feet in closer, I would like to see something more of a Kiko on it that expand
rubber.
Yeah. A little bit farther, because you do run the potential of creating a dent with the feet that's on there on lighter metal like the Subaru.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are some of the things that are out there that I grabbed onto. Hudson showed us the KO tools, which we appreciate you showing those and bringing them to our listening audience and viewing audience now, because you can watch this on YouTube in case you haven't figured it out.
That's right. Well, guys, I think that brings us to another great ending to another great show. And just want to remind you guys to level up your tools.
Don't do stupid stuff.
Embrace the crazy.
And keep it stiff. And tune into virtual MTE this Friday.
Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all the industry and tool-related news every week.
Visit AnsonPDR.com for the largest selection of just about all your PDR tools, where you'll find hog glue and hog tabs.